Best practice real estate agencies enjoy an average repeat referral listing rate of 65%. The relationship with past, current and prospective clients is nurtured within a top 10% business by the customer service department. During this 52-minute presentation, Australasia's acknowledged expert on real estate agency best practice, Robert Bevan, provides a template for a best practice customer service department.
You might like to think about these two scenarios. You're in the office, it's 5:15 and the telephone rings. On the other end of the phone is a person who is considering selling their house. They telephone you at 5:15 and they say, right, we are inviting 3 local real estate agents down to conduct a market appraisal and make recommendations on how we should sell our house. You are number 2. We have you slotted in for 6:30 this evening. You either make it till 6:30 or you don't make it at all. You look at it and you think, okay, terrific, I'm 1 out of 3, I've got a 30% chance. A little later that night at 5:10, the telephone rings again. The person who is on the end of the line is also thinking of selling, but their methodology of getting in touch with you and communicating is slightly different. Their phrase is, you sold our house 5 years ago. You did a great job. We're thinking of selling again. Would you please come and tell us what we have to do this time? Or, you don't know us. We're thinking of selling. Our daughter plays in the local netball competition, and the coach of the team told us that if ever we're thinking of selling, we should come and see you. Would you please come down and tell us what we need to do to market our property for sale? Rhetorical question, which of the 2 scenarios would you like to go through more often? And obviously, it's the second of the 2. Customer service, and that's what we're going to talk about the next little while, customer service is all about making sure that 66% of your listings come about from you sold our house 5 years ago, we know somebody who recommends you. That's what customer service is all about. If you open those workbooks to page number 2, the aim of setting up a customer service department is to maintain a minimum 66% repeat referral listing rate. What I'm going to do now is take you through a template to actually build in your own business a customer service department. So if you can think about it as we're going through the various steps, if you think about it on the basis of what are we trying to do here? Why are we doing this? It's at the end of the day to be generating a 66% repeat referral rate. The function of the customer service department is twofold, and a lot of people don't realise this. First of all, there's research to be conducted, and the research is of current local property consumers, purchasers, sellers, investors, tenants. Research. The second part is the relationship marketing side of the customer service department, and that's maybe the best way of thinking about this is to understand that people in Australia and New Zealand sell on average only 4 or 5 times in their lifetime. Regularly, they forget who sold their property 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago. They can't remember who it was. So it's a matter of keeping in touch with those people to ensure when the time comes again that they remember who you are. That's what relationship marketing is all about. Customer service, or the customer service department, is founded upon what I call the customer service cycle. It's a counterclockwise cycle. You start at the top and go backwards to get back to the top. And if you have a look at those 4 little boxes half the way down page number 3, it's a very simple cycle. Ask your clients what they want, develop the required services, deliver them, and then monitor, measure the response to those services. And as you're building your customer service department, or for those of you that have a customer service department, you might like to ponder upon the 3 axioms that are on the bottom of page number 3. 3 fundamentals, 3 truisms. Focus on your clients and not on your competitors. The majority, and the majority being 90% of the residential real estate agency practitioners in Australia and New Zealand, do what the competition does. They have a sales meeting, we've got to have one of these. Why? Because the people across the road have introduced one. We have to do this. Why? Because somebody else has done it. That's not the way to meet the needs of your customers. You introduce a new service or a product because your research tells you that it's required. Ensure the services are current and local. Regularly, and again, 90%, 9 out of 10 of the industry, come up with a great idea, develop it, introduce it, and there it stays forever and a day. Now, maybe in your business there's a great idea that Dad put together that was great 20 years ago, but has it been subjected to really testing with customer service? Is this a local current need? Or you might have been to an event such as this and you met somebody that came from hundreds of kilometres away and they said this really works well for us, and so you adopt it automatically without testing it in the local marketplace. So it needs to focus on local and current. And the 3rd axiom is never take shortcuts to meet a deadline or to provide greater numbers. It's really a matter of focusing on quality rather than quantity. So within the customer service department, if you're deciding to do some research and you think you might do 10 surveys, and somebody says, well, if we photocopy the form and sort of cut back on this a little bit and skimp here, maybe we can do 100. Best practice customer service says no. Quality first. Don't let the quality suffer as a result of any haste to meet a deadline or any desire to produce bigger numbers. I take you back to what we're trying to achieve. To run through a template so that you can go back to your offices and perhaps sit down with somebody who may not even be employed with you right now, or if they are employed, are involved in other duties and responsibilities. So you're going to take them through and explain the aim and the foundation and the customer service cycle, and to go through the axioms. Number 4, research. In your business today, would you like to return to your office, have a sales meeting, and to state without any doubt to your salespeople that these are the reasons why we get invited to do a market appraisal? These are the reasons. On page number 4, the first question is, how do current local prospective sellers select an agent to carry out a market appraisal? If you turn to page number 8, please. This may very well be the first survey to be conducted, or the first revised needs analysis form to be conducted by a new customer service manager. Let's find out what we need to do to get our foot in the door. Not to get the listing, but to get our foot in the door. How do you do that? Current local property consumers. In this case, people who are asking somebody, a local real estate agent, to do a market appraisal. How do we ask them? Every salesperson is doing market appraisals. They go through, they develop empathy, they talk, they get to know the vendor, the prospective vendor, they have a look around the property, they take some notes, and at some stage they'll probably say, I'd like to measure the rooms, or I'd like to go right down the back and just take some notes. I wonder if you would mind just taking 2 or 3 minutes to complete this one-page survey form for us. It helps us improve the services we provide here. Role reverse. Be that person who is currently inviting you into their home to conduct a market appraisal. You receive this form on page number 8. What caused you to select us to provide you with a market appraisal and recommendations on marketing your home for sale. You are a prospective seller. Would you be offended? Of course you wouldn't. Would you fill it in? Yes, you would. Would you be impressed? Yes, you would, that they're taking the time to act in a professional manner to find out exactly what the needs of this particular person are. Can you make use of that information? What do you put in your pre-listing kits? The answers to this question. And the answers may change. 2 years ago, in 2000, we were getting no response with regard to the internet as far as driving prospective clients to real estate agents. It just didn't rate 2 years ago. Today, it's averaging in a top 10% business 25%. 25% of the inquiry is coming via the internet. Now, if you weren't surveying your customers on this basis, you wouldn't know that. So you need to continue doing it. Now, what do you do with the information? The customer service manager collects this information from the salesperson who returns to the office. This is not a job for a dollar producer. This is a job for an analytical. Collects the forms, and once a month or once a week, that will be determined by you, once a month he or she provides a report to the sales meeting and lets the sales meeting know what gets them to do market appraisals in your town today. And that can be presented in the form of a pie chart, in the form of a graph, and then you can present them with your revised listing presentation kit or pre-listing kit to reflect the answers to that question. And if people are saying how much they like the signboard, or how much they like the location of your office, or how much they like whatever it might be, you put that in there. It might be referral. Great, I hope it is. So if it's referral, you put lots of testimonials and lots of referral into the pre-listing kit, if that's driving this particular prospect into your business. The second question that you might like to think about having answered is, how do local sellers select an agent to act as their exclusive agent? Now, there is a difference. The first one says, what got the foot in the door to do an appraisal? The second one is asked of somebody after they've made the decision to sign an agency agreement. Now, you want to know what got you the listing, and it might be very, very different. Now, this is asked of the vendor, not the prospective vendor, of the vendor during the first week of the agency agreement. And the form is prepared and it is sent out by the customer service manager, not the salesperson. Salesperson will come back 99 times out of 100 and say the answer is simple, it's my superior listing skills. Well, maybe it is, but maybe there's a bit in there because your business has been around for 16 years and you have a pretty good reputation. But you need to know, Australian and New Zealand property owners are very, very polite. And if somebody says, do you like the service, when that person is providing the service, we say yes. It's easier to do it. You can't be bothered to fill in the forms to say, well, look, this could have been a bit better. But if a customer service manager posts the form with a reply paid envelope and it comes back, it gives them the opportunity to tell the truth, the whole truth, and a lot of the little things that you can then put into your listing kit, into your listing presentation for your local area today. And this is a job for customer service. The third question, let's have a look on page number 9. Again, I invite you to roll reverse and be the prospective or the person who has just signed up an agency agreement. If you look right at the bottom there, there's the sample, the template form for you. So that we may continue to improve the level of service we provide, please take 2 or 3 minutes to complete this single one-page survey. What caused you to select our firm to act as our exclusive agent? If you have just signed and you get this in the mail 3 days later, would you be offended? No, you wouldn't. Would you be impressed? Would you answer it truthfully? Yes, you would. And can you, as a real estate agency, make use of it? By crikeys, you can. But we tend not to do it. Is it easy to do? Yes, it is. Is it complicated? No, it's not. Who shouldn't do it? The salespeople. Why not? Because it's not a dollar productive activity. They should be listing, selling, negotiating, marketing. So it's a job for the customer service department. If you return to the third question on page number 4. What are the reasons you failed to be appointed as the selling agent following a market appraisal listing presentation? This is pretty interesting. Even the best residential sales consultants in New Zealand and Australia at the moment have a strike rate of 83%. They're not getting everything. So they need to know why they missed out so that they can improve. If you want to improve even an outstanding market appraisal to list rate of 83 or list to sell of 92, and that's their rate there, if you want to, there's still 8% to move on there, you need to know why you didn't get the job. Now, again, remember that property consumers are very, very polite people, and they'll say something to make you feel good. What you need is somebody from the customer service department to complete a form or carry out some telemarketing similar to that which you find on page number 10. Hi, my name is, I'm calling on behalf of, am I speaking to? So there's a script. I wanted to just take 2 or 3 minutes to conduct some local research. Is now a good time, or should I call back later? Etc, etc, etc. The results of that, I'm sure everybody in this room and anybody aspiring to become a top 10% operator would like to know why they missed a listing. And by using a somewhat arm's length person, customer service, you will get the answer. For those of you that are in larger offices or groups, you might even be able to provide this for the larger office or the group. But it needs to be local and it needs to be current. Back on page number 4, the fourth of our questions, are your current local vendors happy with your service? As you're thinking about re-evaluating or improving or starting up your customer service department, and you've then got to take it back and sell it to the office, the salespeople, that you're going to start doing this sort of stuff, would they like to know at every sales meeting, or perhaps once a month, exactly what their local vendors are thinking? Now, we know very, very clearly that when this form goes out from the salesperson, or particularly when the salesperson delivers it and sort of says, well, if it's okay, I'll wait and I'll take it back, you're going to get the response you want to hear. When it comes from the customer service manager, you get the true response. Not everybody is going to reply, but you're going to get an indication of the little things. And I've mentioned this before many, many times, and on page number 11, there's a sample form. Question number 5 is please list here any other comments or questions. The thing that we continue to find out throughout Australasia from that question is vendors hate real estate salespeople parking in the driveway. Now that's a little thing, but you might have put the sign in the wrong place. And they don't want to upset you because you've been so great at everything else. But if the customer service manager says, any little things you want us to just fix up, they will send it back. The salesperson will get the answers that the vendor thinks they want to hear. Back on page number 4, how do current local purchasers contact your office to inquire about a property you have listed for sale? Well, what's so important about this? You're writing suggested marketing programs for prospective vendors and for vendors. Would you like to know, without any doubt whatsoever, where your inquiry comes from today in your local marketplace? The way to find that out is to ask current prospective purchasers. Somebody walks into the office. Hi, we're thinking of buying a property. Could we talk to one of your sales reps? Yes, they're just hanging up. Would you like to take a seat in our interview room here, our client room? I wonder, while you're waiting, would you mind filling out this simple one-page form? The one-page form, or an example of one, is on page number 12. Right down the bottom. Which of the following advertising, marketing or promotional sources cause you to contact our office regarding a property we have listed for sale? This is where we found out that all of a sudden the internet is providing 25% of the inquiry, and 2 years ago it didn't rate. But it will change for your office. And you need to be able, for your office, to be able to equip the salespeople with the empirical evidence based on your local research, which says 23% of our inquiry comes from there. 16 comes from there, and it is so simple to do. So the customer service manager collects those forms from receptionists. All the salespeople are required, when they're taking somebody in the car, when they're at an open for inspection, to use that form and say, look, before you go, I wonder if you just mind filling this out for us. And once a month, up on the whiteboard, there is the detail, there is the empirical evidence. This is where we get our buyer inquiry from. Then when you go to do a listing presentation, within your listing presentation documentation, with a salesperson trained to make use of it, you can be used as a listing tool when you say, hey, look, we can spend money doing all that stuff, but we could spend the same amount of money and get a lot more interest by just focusing on those 3 or 4 sources that we know here in our area provide all the buyers. But you need to do it in your own local area. The 6th one on page number 5, are your current landlords or investors happy with your current service? Absolutely critical. And again, we make the mistake of sending these out. Now what should happen here, this is on page number 13, there's a sample form. With all these forms, they're samples, no more, no less. Take it and rewrite it to suit your own business, your own circumstances. There's a template to build it from. With investors, with landlords, with property owners, property management team are pretty busy. Ask them to give you a list of all of the property owners. Don't do any surveying during January nor during December, so you've got 10 months. Take 10% of your owners and survey 10% every month right throughout the year. Now what typically happens is that the property manager sends this letter and the property owner is embarrassed because he's always on the phone saying, you didn't get this fixed, I drove past, and so they don't necessarily answer it the way they would if it came from the customer service department. So that form comes from the customer service department as well. There are the 6 forms that you should be using to set up the basic department, and I have put on the bottom of page number 4 a couple of rules which we know provide you with effective surveys. Design the form so that it's no more than 1 page long. Now, again, you're going back into the office and you're thinking of instructing somebody to become your customer service manager. So you can give them some rules that produce effective survey results. So on the bottom of page 4, we're going to survey anybody, 1 page maximum. Use tick box or circle answers. Minimise the need for the surveyee to write out the answer. If they've got to write long answers, they won't fill it in. Ensure the survey will take no more than 4 minutes to complete. If they look at it and they think, here's another higher skills certificate examination, it'll go in the bin. Provide a courteous introduction so that we may continue to improve the level of service we provide herein, and a thank you at the end. And make it easy, a reply paid envelope, your email address, whichever way you're going to do it. I mentioned in my introduction that the aim of customer service was to build a business where 66%, 2/3 of the listings, came about as a result of referral activity or of repeat activity. It's basically your reputation. That's relationship marketing, and on page number 5 there are 8 key activities that we've picked up from best practice officers throughout Australasia. 8 things, 8 key areas that you need to focus on to keep in touch. If for no other reason, nothing kills a relationship more quickly than silence. That's why when they sell only 3 or 4 times in a lifetime, they forget who you were. Oh, who was it who sold our property? Was it LJ Hooker? Was it Rain and Horn? Was it the Independent? We don't know, we can't remember. Nothing kills a relationship more quickly than silence. If you're going to appoint a customer service manager, I recommend you print that out and put it right up on the wall in front of him or her, so they never forget it. 8 activities to keep the relationship alive. Sign up to first marketing activity. Now remember, we are talking about people, 97% of them, it's their single greatest financial transaction. It's massive stress 3 or 4 times in their lifetime. Between sign up, let's take sign up day. They sign up the agency agreement. The next day, they've forgotten everything you told them. You told them that there'd be no action for 5 days or 10 days, whatever it might be in your area. You said, look, we've got to get contracts, we've got to write advertising copy, we've got to take photographs, we've got to get signboards, we've got to come and show you ads, we've got to do this. It'll be 2 weeks before the first advertising activity occurs, and you won't hear from us. The day after you tell them that, they forget it because they're in massive stress. You've got to remember to keep in touch with them so that they can be reminded again of the things you've already said. There should be, during this period, a system in the office run by customer service so that the first day after the agency agreement, maybe you, the owner of the business, or maybe the sales manager, sends a letter and confirms the agency agreement and congratulates them on the decision to appoint you and to go in whatever course they're going to do. So the first day, part of the system, a letter from you, the boss. The second day, your system, and let's assume it's a 5-day period. The second day, your system requires the salesperson to ring and make a phone call for the next day to take down the advertising copy. The third day, you do your advertising copy. The fourth day, you do something else. The fifth day, you will decide what works for you. But within the customer service department, during that period, there have to be key activities that the customer service manager ensures are carried out. Not the salesperson, not even you, the owner of the business. So the customer service manager says to you, here's your letter, you have to sign it, we'll post it for you, but the customer service manager gets it done. The phone call from the salesperson on the second day. Now, why are we ringing? Because on the second day, they've put their head on the pillow twice, and when they did after signing the agency agreement, they've said, have you heard from the agent? No, we haven't for 2 days. After 5 days, they're down at netball. Somebody says, oh, I see you're selling your home, or who did you appoint? Best practice. What are they like? Well, they seemed all right, but we haven't heard from them for 5 days. As opposed to head on the pillow, I got a letter from the owner of the business. Not only that, she said if there's ever anything she can do for me, she's given me her mobile phone number and home phone number. Congratulate and confirm, but keep in touch. The second period is during the marketing period. We normally do this pretty well. So during that marketing period, the sales consultant should contact the vendor 5 times a week, minimum of 5 times a week. And how long and when it takes place will be discussed with the sales consultant, with the vendor at, prior or after the listing presentation. So they're kept in touch with all the way through. Number 3, keep in touch with A-class purchasers. Your business knows a lot more purchasers than it knows vendors. Purchasers create just as much goodwill or badwill in your local area as vendors do. When somebody's at the school fete and says, oh, do you know any good local agents, after they've given an opinion, they don't say, oh, by the way, are you a seller or a buyer? No, they just want the opinion. And there are a lot more buyers out there than sellers. If you have a business whereby the customer service department once a month requires and gets feedback from your sales consultant as to what your A-class purchasers are doing, those A-class purchasers will be at the fete and say, oh, well, we used another agent, but the only agency who kept in touch with us during the 8, 9, 10 weeks we were looking was Best Practice. But customer service has to drive it. Has to drive it. Ten, 10, 20. Everybody in this room has heard of 10, 10, 20. Every time you list, every time you sell, every time you have an open house, the 10 houses this side, the 10 that side, the 10 across the street, all get a note, a card, a letter, a brochure, something, a flyer. At the moment, throughout Australasia, we've got a very tight listing market. Everybody's looking for listings. Salespeople are very, very busy. They are time poor. I challenge you to go back and without notice ask every salesperson to open the boot of the car. You will find lots of 10, 20 brochures in boots of cars because they don't have time. And why don't they do it? Because it's not a dollar productive activity. And if somebody says, hey, I'm thinking of selling, will you come down and do a listing presentation? They won't say, well, look, I've got to do 10, 20s. 10, 20s are a job for the customer service department so that they get done every time. Another rhetorical question. There are people in this room that have been in agency practice longer than 30 years. If you'd have delivered for the last 30 years 10, 20, now there are people in this room who do 200, 400, but if you'd have delivered just 10, 20 for every list, every sell, every open house for as long as you've been in agency business, would you be getting more repeat referral work now? Of course you would. But we don't do it. Why not? Because we ask the wrong people to do it. This is a job for customer service. After sales service. 2 years ago I reported to this retreat the results of a survey I just completed which produced the most staggering results I've ever found in agency practice. It involved 203 recent sellers. Their names and phone numbers had been given to me by sales managers and business principals, and they were all, I was told that they were all happy vendors. They'd all had their properties sold by the agency within the last 2 months quickly for a price either above the reserve or better than they were really expecting to get. I rang those people and 50% of the 203 said they would not go back to that agent or would not recommend that agent to a friend. Now the agent had given me their name and said they're happy clients because they got a high price quickly. When we found out why they wouldn't do that, they told us it was basically because of after-sales service. Our salespeople who look after the client, as soon as there's an exchange, a done deal, they let them go. That's it, that's done. Money's in the bank, we're almost there. We don't have to worry about it. What happens to the client? Well, 6 weeks later after settlement, they're talking to people, we're thinking of selling, what was such and such like? The agency. Well, when we agreed to the price, we thought it was a good price and we sold it on the second day. The day after, my father came in. My father's a butcher. He said we sold it too quickly and if we'd have waited another 2 or 3 weeks we would have got more. Then we went to the church raffle day and the guy running the chocolate wheel said, oh, I see you sold your house. And do you know what his reply was when we said yes and we told him the price? Gee, you would have got more for that if you'd have waited a bit longer. And everybody for the whole 5 or 6 weeks period has told them they sold it too quickly and for too little. So they thought, first of all, they didn't get good advice. The other thing that they said was, during that whole time, we're thinking, they were on the phone to us during the marketing period 5 out of 7 a week. They were always on the phone. Always on the phone. As soon as we had an unconditional sale, we didn't hear from them again. Do you know they even had a slogan that said, we care? Well, they cared all right. They cared about their commission. No, I don't recommend them because I'm not sure that the advice we got was right and they were only interested in their dollar. Contrast that to a top 10% best practice customer service department where, okay, the day after the exchange contract, you, the owner of the business, send a letter to this person, congratulate and confirm. You might want to write those 2 words down. They're not in the book. Congratulate and confirm. Congratulations on your sale. We've just had a meeting here and we believe you've got a great price. It comes from you, the owner, not from the salesperson. And confirm that the actions that they've taken, in your opinion, are first rate. So you've got probably a 4-6 week period to talk to these people about. Maybe 5 days after that, the customer service manager writes to them and sends them a copy of your packing hints. Oh, we've already done that. We put that in the pre-listing kit and in the listing. They've forgotten all that. They're thinking about other things now. So send them a copy of your packing hints. Tips for moving house. A few days after that, the customer service manager might ring to confirm that he or she understands that they're moving from A to B. Would you like us to get in touch with an agent in B, an agent who we know operates a very good business, and maybe they could send you, or we could arrange to have the local newspaper or Holmes book sent? So that during that period you've got a system so that they're contacted, they continue to get congratulations confirmed. Settlement occurs, you, the owner of the business, again writes to them and congratulates and confirms. So it's a mix between the customer service department and the owner of the business. Only you can decide what systems you want to have there, but there are systems. Clients for life. Send a monthly email newsletter to every past, current and prospective client. On page number 14, the monthly newsletter, it's emailed to you, you receive it, first Friday of every month. You change the masthead to put your own name and colours in there. On the right-hand side, you can put all of the links to your local council, to your institute, to your franchise marketing group, to whatever you want to link to. Most importantly, all of those links come back to your website so that you are determining where the business is going. It doesn't go to somebody else's website. It costs you nothing to do this. You receive it from me every month. All you need to do is to badge it, create the links back to your own offices and send it on. Best practice subscribers throughout Australia and New Zealand are using it right now, and they've been using it for 5 months. If you haven't seen it or you're not aware of it, give us a call at the office and we'll make sure you get the past issues and you start to make use of it. Because if you're emailing people, if you're collecting email addresses, you can contact these people once a month by email and keep in touch with them. You think about it, every vendor, every purchaser, every past, every current and every prospective client you are keeping in touch with. Nothing kills a relationship quicker than silence. This is free. It was done to provide you with a value-added service. Unsuccessful presentation. If you have a look on page number 15, this is another one of these, please roll reverse. You've had 3 people in to do a listing presentation and you gave it not to you but to the competition. You are the vendor who has appointed somebody else and you receive a letter from the manager of the customer service department of the office you didn't select. On the bottom of page 15, thank you for the opportunity to inspect your beautiful home and make suggestions on marketing it for sale. I regret that our firm has not been appointed as your selling agent, but I would like to extend my very best wishes to you for a successful sale. Should you decide that you need my advice at any time in the future, please don't hesitate to contact me. In the meantime, you will continue to receive by email our popular local property news. Now there's a template. You can rewrite it. You can attach some other documents. You can do it. But think about it. Here's somebody that didn't get the business and writes to you and says, congratulations. Is that likely to provide yet another goodwill ambassador? Is it possible, now when the market changes a bit and everything's not selling so quickly, that the person who got the listing may have just inflated the price and cut commission to get the listing? And are they likely at some stage to be looking to another agent? Who is going to get the second chance? But notwithstanding that, even if they sell it, they can become a goodwill ambassador by doing this. Who sends it out? The customer service manager. Special events on page number 5, the 8th of the key activities. Take your year, drop off January, drop off December, and take 5 dates during that time and make a decision that from now on you are going to, every 6 or 7 weeks, run a first home buyers night, an investment seminar, a seminar for people who are thinking of buying their second property, a seminar for property sellers, a seminar on GST or whatever it might be. But start to build a set of activities which will make you the recognised local expert. It's like deciding you're going to do auctions for the first time. If you don't just say that's what we're going to do and get into it, it won't happen. Now we've got, for all best practice subscribers, we've got templates on how you can do it. So there are the 8 key activities. So you go back and you think about talking with a customer service manager or employing somebody and saying, these are the 8 things we want to do. This is the relationship marketing. This is the stuff that stops us killing the relationship through silence. On page number 6, testimonials. Very, very important in many areas. Include a testimonial request every time you send a client survey form. Don't make it optional. Say, please write here a 1 or 2 sentence reference for us to use in the future marketing of our services. And use the thing. Never again send any marketing material, any flyer, any letter out that doesn't have testimonials on the back of it. That's wasted space. If you send prospecting material out via letterbox drops, when you send those out, 98% of the people who receive them, on average, are not interested in selling or buying. But every one of them can help create your reputation. And if you've got a blank on the back of your page, if you head that, our reputation is your guarantee, and you print the testimonials there, our reputation is your guarantee, print the testimonials, you will start to create goodwill ambassadors. 3 points. When reproducing a testimonial, print their first name if you can. So it's Robert Bevan, not Mr. Bevan or RB. By putting Robert Bevan, they realise that it's genuine. Put the street, not the number. We've got privacy concerns here, so it'll be a local street and your suburb or town, so that people who see it will know that it's genuine, because when they see KB, they say, oh, you've just written this yourself. So you write first name, surname, street name, not number, and suburb. Utilise testimonials in your telephone on hold. Just a little bit about telephones and relationship marketing. Every real estate agency that is trying to obtain more business is doing a lot of promotional activity which finishes with, please give us a call. If your business, when somebody gives you a call, does not answer the telephone within 4 rings, you are losing business. And if you have got an automated telephone system where the reply is, your call is important to us, we're very busy, we're putting you in a call, think about this. You're saying give us a call. If you'd like us to come and do a market appraisal, a listing presentation, they are going to ring 4 or 5 people and they're going to select 2 or 3. If they get straight through to 3 and they can't get through to you, there isn't anybody that likes automated telephone systems. Now, there's a place for them next one down the track. If your business is not answering all of its calls, or 90% of its calls within 4 rings by a real person, maybe you need to think about putting a not highly paid extra telephonist in. Maybe you've got to start to think about having the telephonist at the back of the office away from the reception area and differentiating the roles of reception, the walk-in inquiry and the telephone, because they are becoming 2 very different roles. So telephone answering, very, very important. Staffing of your customer service department, my suggestions here, go back over this template when you return to the office. We've only been through 7 pages and some forms. Revise the template and decide which activities you're going to put in as customer service. Now remember, customer service is research and relationship marketing. So you're going to put all the 6 forms in. Are you going to put the 8 key activities in? Decide what you're going to introduce. Write a duty statement when you've put all of those activities, a duty statement for your new customer service manager. And we've got samples that you can have a look at. Appoint 1 person to be in charge, a senior person. Now, depending on the size of your business and the number of activities you want to introduce, that might be a very senior person. It might be a brand new person you're going to bring out of another industry who is already in customer service. It might be an existing employee who's going to take some time from his or her existing week to carry out customer service activities. But write the duty statement and appoint 1 person to be in charge. If you believe you need more than 1 person, appoint junior assistants, clerical assistants. Get one person who really knows what they're doing, because they're going to have to be dealing with some fairly successful people. You want them to be able to present their reports every month to the salespeople, to the property managers, to you, so you know what's driving traffic to your business. Funding. I've put there 2 steps. Estimate the cost per sale which the provision of these customer service activities will attract. Now, this can be a bit difficult to do. How much is this going to cost us to do it? As a rule of thumb, now this is a very, very rough rule of thumb. It couldn't be any rougher, but if you want to start to do it without having to get out a theodolite and a compass, take direct salary costs. If you've got one person and a couple of assistants, direct salary costs and double it. And make that the cost of the customer service. So that's going to include all of the other things that are going to be taken up with it. So take direct salary and double it. Work out the number and calculate that as an annual amount. Find out how many sales you made last year, divide the customer service cost by the number of sales, and that will give you a customer service cost per sale. You can do your own calculation. Let's assume it's $250. So to do all of those things, and I'll take you back to page number 4, please. So you've worked it out, and you've got the sales team in front of you, and you've said, we are now every month going to tell you how current local prospective sellers select an agent to carry out a market appraisal. And the answers to that are going to be reflected in our listing kit, and we're going to provide you with training on how to get more market appraisals. We're going to show you empirically how current local sellers select an agent to act as their exclusive agent. And we're going to provide training, and we're going to put that in our listing presentation documentation. We're going to find out why we missed out, and we're going to take you through training so that we can get rid of that from whatever we're doing. Now, are your salespeople likely to say, yeah, we'd like to have that, that'd be good, and you don't have to do any of it? Because we're going to set up a customer service department. Will your strike rates, will your KPIs improve? Will you get more market appraisals, more listings, make more sales if you know the answers to those questions? Not an anecdotal, I think this was the way, or this is the way it used to work 20 years ago, son, when I first came into the business. The absolute truth. Will they want to do it? Okay, there's going to be a cost. The cost is $250 a sale. And you will then work out how you're going to factor that in to your business. Now, is it going to be, okay, we just leave the commission exactly where it is, but before we share any commission with you, $250 comes off every sale to run customer service. Or, if you're in an area where you're able to increase your commission, you put the commission up by $250, and from now on we provide that customer service to you. And once a month you're going to get all of those services. So that's funding. That's funding. The important thing when you're explaining to your salespeople how it works, everybody knows how to sell. You sell the benefits first. Show them those questions and let them work that out. It's only been in the last 12 months that I've recognised something that I've been trying to find the answer to for over 10 years. What is the single greatest key performance indicator in a top office? And the single greatest key performance indicator is the amount of repeat referral listings. Because if you're getting listings because of what you did yesterday, that's compounding. Salespeople will want to work for you. Vendors will want to list with you. People will want to talk about you in a positive way. And the only way to do that is to say the business is going to run the customer service department. You cannot ask dollar producers to do it. That's not their job. Just to wrap up, if you go to page 18, right on page 18, are you serious? I strongly recommend. It's the last page in the book. We've just been through 17 pages of forms and suggestions. When you get back to the office, go through the 17 pages again. Decide what, if anything, of those 17 pages you'd like to introduce into your business, and write your own performance improvement schedule. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't do this immediately upon returning to your offices, chances are it won't happen. This will go in the bottom left-hand drawer. I've just mentioned that this is the single most important key performance indicator in any business. And if you really want to get a head start, these things have to happen. And it may be, for most of you, a brand new activity, or certainly a variation or a consolidation of existing activities. But the only way it will happen will be if you do that. I've been very excited in doing the research to get this information on the customer service department together. And folks, I hope you can get some real benefit into your business by taking that template home. Thank you.